Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Nidai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. And all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naronchaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So this morning, instead of reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, we are reading from I Will Build You a Temple. In other words, more or less, you can say this is part of Prabhupada's Lilamrita. I'm sorry. Thank you, Braj Hari Prabhu, for giving me a chance to speak. And I apologize all of you that last time I came, I didn't give any class. Because when I flew from America to come to India, I was given strict instruction that I should attend only from the backside, the Mangalarti, and then I should go back to my room. Because I came in that odd time, and I was also very scared because I saw in New York hundreds and thousands of people dying like cats and dogs. So I ran from there and I came here and it was the same situation. And I was really mental. I didn't want to come to all the programs and I didn't want to give any class. So this time Radha Rasbihari made me give the class. So thank you for your patience and Hare Krishna. So since I was part of the Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita work in India, also way back in America, we had a core group, 10 to 15 of us were core group. And apart from that, there are so many devotees also assisted or helped. So therefore, the research work and just findings I did here in India, I was given credit by my spiritual master, Srila Satsrup Das Goswami, to me in first part of Lilamrita. My name is Narad Rishi Das. You can find me. And when I went back to, after finishing the work from here, when I returned back to America, I did the same Lilamrita activities. Therefore, I was given in sixth volume, I'm acknowledged. That, because we are called the Biography Gems, the group, so we are given credits whoever has done whatever activities. So I was part of the core group, so I was also given credit over there. So we had a very strong team, skillful devotees. We are looking for, in fact, we are hounding everywhere Srila Prabhupada went. We had clear instruction from Srila Satsrup Das Goswami, who is the writer of Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, where we have to go, what we have to look for, and what kind of interview we have to do. All these things, we had clear points were there. Therefore, we found it became very easy when we followed the instruction of the spiritual master. And it became very easy, and we found a lot of things, lot of materials. In fact, it became insurmountable materials. And when Satsuru Maharaj saw this, and he said, he told us, what am I going to write? Prabhupada has written everything. What am I going to write? But when he saw the materials, he said there are a mountain of work to do. So much material on Prabhupada, Prabhupada's Leela, Prabhupada's pastimes. So much materials we collected. So therefore he said, mountain of work to do. So when volume 1, volume 2, volume 3 came out like that, he was pushing us to send. Specifically, he sent me from New York City he sent me to Washington, D.C. to collect money, so that just the lot of materials which is required for posting can be done, So my legs were like up in the air. I was running day and night to collect the money so that it could be posted. So any house, Indian house I went, even just a dime and nickel, I was trying to say, I'm not going to go from your door. It is sake of my spiritual master and sake of my grand spiritual master. So therefore, I will not go without taking a penny even. Please give whatever you have. I was begging. So the books were, as soon as the books were coming out, Lilamrita, Prabhupada Lilamrita, then it was immediately dispatched around the world. Because devotees, after the GBC decided that there should be, after departure of Srila Prabhupada in 14th November 1977, so the GBCs, after that, they decided that there should be Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, or the biography of the founder Acharya of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Then they entrusted everything to Satsuru Maharaj to write. So when I returned back to Mumbai, I met the writer of this book. Everybody knows? Yes? How many of you know? That's all. I don't see any one of you raising the hands. It's mentioned, I will build you a temple. It is written by His Holiness Giriraj Swami. Giriraj Swami is our old friend, the first temple president of ISKCON Juhu. He is the Chicago Jew, coming from Jewish background, just like here in India, Marwadis. So Jewish people generally, they do the business. So he's coming from very big, rich family, millionaire, Chicago millionaire. So he was thinking that he wanted to become God. And he mounted, I was saying the other day, the others could also be benefited. So he mounted in a piece of granite, writing, carving, that I want to become God. So the very same thing he asked Srila Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada said, one does not become God. God is ever God. Whether he is child, whether he is grown up like you young boys and girls. I am also indicating towards the girls. I will tell you why. Whether boys or girls, man or women or animal, etc., etc. God is ever God. One cannot become God. So when this much he heard, that is Giriraj Maharaj, at that time Bhakta Glenn, when he heard, he was completely convinced and he came with Srila Prabhupada to India. After finishing his Boston activities, there are a lot of things. It is in Lilamrita. Those who will read in Lilamrita, you can know, etc., etc. I'm just coming back because we have a lot of things. How long I can speak? 9:15? Please give me a little more time. Okay, fine. So why I mentioned about girls? Because there is one, Mataji was also God. Anybody knows? Eh? God. I'm talking about God from Srimad Bhagavatam. Mohini Murti. God can become man, animal, man, women, animal. He became half lion, half man. He became boar, etc. He became fish. God is one, but God has many names, many forms. You know, within 3/4 of the material and spiritual manifestation, there are unlimited planetary systems are there. You have to read this in Srimad Bhagavatam. And in each planet, God has different names apart from Krishna. Many, many names. And of those, we are countable names from Ityasas, Vedas and Puranas we get, such as Narsingha, Vamana, Matsya, Kashyapa, Janardhan, Rishikesh, this, that, just know whatever you can find. So that is like countable names. So, however, coming back to the point that so this Giriraj Swami, he has written this book. He is very loyal to Srila Prabhupada. He is very, dedicated devotee. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada made him the first temple president. And at that time, he was Giriraj Das Brahmachari when I met him first time. So when I returned back from America, it's coming to the point. After, when I came back to Mumbai, Giriraj Swami saw me, he didn't ask or write to my spiritual master saying that you did not write so much about Mumbai. He told me. Because the senior men, they like to maintain their etiquettes. So he didn't say to my spiritual master. He told me that, Narada, your spiritual master did not elaborate so much in Prabhupada Lilamrita about Mumbai Yatra. So I said, Maharaj, we used to have every now and then these core groups with other devotees, those who are coming for Lilamrita meetings. Every now and then we used to have communication. In America, communication is very, very good. So we used to have, and over there, Satsarup Maharaj told us there are mountains of work to do, and so therefore, he got the cream to us in the form of Lilamrita in 7 volumes. And apart from that, he was not satisfied. Still, he wrote Prabhupada Leela, so many volumes. And apart from that, also, he wrote so many other Prabhupada's books. He was completely absurd. I was his servant, and I was in Port Royal, Pennsylvania. There is a farm called Geetanagri where I was serving him. In the middle of the night, he was getting up and he was saying, waking him up and he was saying, bring me paper and pencil. Pad and just a pen or pencil, you bring it. And he was immediately writing something. That means morning, evening, daytime, his meditation was Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Therefore, you can see his expression. Face is the index of the mind. You can see how he has drew so many Prabhupada's pictures when you go to his exhibition. We go twice in a year, in upstate New York, just he exhibits just whatever he draws about Prabhupada. Oh, it's wonderful. It's simply wonderful. He always thinks about Prabhupada, Satsrupa Das Goswami, who is the writer of Lilamrita. In fact, the senior man they mentioned, it is as good as Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Prabhupada's Lilamrita. And there are so many devotees from many, many parts of the world. They were coming and they were asking, when we are going to get Prabhupada Lilamrita? They were so curious to know. And it was only in English, but just they wanted to know different yatras like Russia and other European countries. They wanted to know. So therefore, just, so. And the books were sent and the translation began in different languages. Now it is in evidence in different languages. It is translated and devotees are getting benefit out of it, knowing. And when they come to New York City to see in New York, wherever Prabhupada went, like Tompkins Square Park and Henry Street and many other places when they go, in fact, I have seen many devotees, from their eyes, the tears come and they roll on the ground out of emotion, because Prabhupada took so much hardship for us. He struggled for benefit of us, and now we are enjoying. Therefore, the lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can obtain pure devotional service. By his causeless mercy. Lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can obtain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material sufferings and obtain the mercy of Krishna. The words emanating from his mouth is absolute for us. So from his mouth, his lotus mouth, the words came. There are many, many, many things came. And one of them is, he addressed to Radha Rasbiyarji, my dear sir, please stay here. I will build a Navastami Prasad. In other words, I will build you a beautiful temple. And Giriraj, His Holiness Giriraj Swami was present here, and he knew all the facts, and he wrote that, quoting that very same word that became the title, I will build you a temple. In other words, Srila Prabhupada has promised that he was desiring very strongly that he wanted to build a temple for Radha Rasbiyarji. And that has manifested. And this is the most, I have traveled around the world and seen many, many temples. Name the continents, I went many, many temples. But as far as my knowledge is concerned, this is the most gorgeous temple in the world. Trust me. In America, I went to Vrindavan, I went to Los Angeles. Everybody was talking, New Dwarka is very nice. Of course, Krishna manifests himself with his opulences, but this is the most gorgeous temple in the world. And this is the temple. In fact, just when it is explained in Lilamrita, you guys have to read so that you can know. And we did a lot of research work. So in fact, when some devotees came with Srila Prabhupada, and they wanted to go to downtown Mumbai to see the place where they can start the center and they can build the temple. But when Srila Prabhupada passed through, this place was a swampy land. The rattlesnakes, the frogs, the different kinds of animals, insects and so forth and this swampy land just nobody cared about. And then also there are so many kinds of, wild growing plants and so forth. This was not an important place. But the pure devotee saw, and he glanced over this place and he said, devotees were objecting, Prabhupada, no, downtown is a nice place and we want to go over there and we want to build the temple. Prabhupada said, this is the place. This is the place. And you see, the pure devotee glanced over and how a beautiful Navashtami Prasad, the beautiful temple manifested over here. Beautiful temple manifested. And His Holiness Giriraj Swami has mentioned over here, he has mentioned a lot of nice things. I just wanted to say you in synopsis that he also mentioned after Cross Maidan meeting, just there was one devotee. It is quite suspense quite for a while. So he wrote a letter. He is R.B. Patil. Anybody knows who is R.B. Patil? His Holiness Loknath Swami Maharaj. So Giriraj Swami has expressed over there the way he has written just, he said, we published the pamphlets, brochures, and we put it there. And this young man who was going to Kirti College, still existing Kirti College in Dadar. So he was going to Kirti College and he was a science, in the science faculty. I think his major was chemistry. So he was going, in fact, I spoke to him when I came to the movement. I came to the movement towards 76 end. And I met Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan. I gave a little massage. And I went right next to his head and I was chanting. They gave me the small pair of kartal. I was chanting, sitting right next to Srila Prabhupada's head. And then also I cleaned his room. I put the incense. And I was told, at that time I was like hardly 15, 16. I went to someone asked me to go to his kitchen. I washed his kitchen utensils. And how many of you had been to Vrindavan? Raise your hands. You went to Prabhupada's museum? You did? You saw those porcelain plates, cups. Prabhupada ate in that. And there was one head cook. Her name is Mother Daivi Shakti. She gave me the specific instruction to clean that porcelain pots in which Prabhupada was eating, and I cleaned that. And Srila Prabhupada was present at that time. I did that devotional, direct service to Srila Prabhupada. However, I regret I missed slightly. I missed the boat. I was almost about to be initiated by him, but I missed the boat. But at the same time, just, I'm still, by causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada, I'm surviving within this movement. It has been 45 years now. Time and tide waits for none. However, coming back to the point, so we will read a little bit since it is the credit goes to Giriraj Maharaj, how he has worked very hard. So I was told, Raghunath confided that since he had stayed in the village for such a long time, he wasn't sure how I and other devotees would respond to his return. So he came and he joined in the movement, and then just his family members, Loknath Maharaj's family members when he was young Raghunath. So he was told, I know his classmates, his friends, they were told to just to see him, keep eye on him, because he was trying to join Bino Bhave's movement also, and it didn't work out. And then, so he came. He felt just like lover and belover, if they like each other in the first sight, they just fell in love. So His Holiness Loknath Maharaj, he fell in love with this movement. He said, I never joined in any other movement. I was not impressed, but I was very much impressed by this movement. The Artik, the Bhajan, the Kirtan, the devotees' enthusiasm. And at that time, Radharaj Biyarji was over there. And there was a Tulsi garden over there. And the tenants were staying. And, so there was these American devotees, when they came, they were staying in the simply mud hut, sacks. Still just the place was swampy, etc., etc. Just, austerity is the jewel of the sadhus. Without austerity or without tapasya, we cannot achieve anything. An expert businessman, he always thinks how to make his business profitable. So a person who becomes sadhu, he goes through severe austerities, how to make advancement. How to make advancement. Krishna consciousness is not that easy that we can, common people are from outside, they say that we have nothing to do, just we only chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Is this easy, devotees? Is this easy? Say yes or no. No. Then my question is, why you have joined in this difficult path? Why you want? Anybody? Yes. Two? What's that? Say me, if you cannot say just in English, you say me in Hindi.
क्योंकि हमें स्पिरिचुअलिटी की ओर जुड़ना चाहिए और कृष्णा को सरेंडर करना चाहिए.
फिर स्पिरिचुअली जोड़ना चाहिए और कृष्ण को
सरेंडर करना चाहिए.
सेंटर में सरेंडर करना चाहिए. That is okay, but this is a difficult path. But knowing so, still we surrender to Krishna. Still we join in this movement. Why? Anybody else? Yeah.
To purify ourselves.
Yes, to purify ourselves. And what else? The ultimate goal of the dharma of the fire is to burn. The fire does not see. Fire doesn't see. This is Prime Minister's house. This is President's house. This is Tata's house. This is Birla's house. This is Ambani's house. Fire's nature is to burn. That is the dharma. It is given by the Supreme Lord. The fire god is empowered. The fire can burn anything and everything. The dharma of the water is to quench the thirst and then remain on its own level. And the dharma of the mankind is to become spaced out in this material world. Yes. Srila Prabhupada says, other than Krishna consciousness, anything we do within this material world is a waste of time. But still we join in this movement. Knowing so, it is very hard. So the dharma of the mankind is to serve the Supreme Lord despite trials and tribulations, despite severe austerities. We are determined, joined in the movement, taken refuge at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord to go back home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let me see how many of you are determined to go home back to Godhead. Raise your hands. Don't become hesitant. Are you sure you all want to go? You are not, huh? Yes, you do? Okay. So, my dear friends, do not waste your time anywhere socializing, talking Gramya Katha and so forth. The best example is His Holiness Loknath Maharaj. He was Bhakta Raghunath, so he did not waste his time. He came and directly joined in the movement. And he went to his village. He wanted to see his parents because they demanded. His brother, elder brother came and others came. Just he went. And after going, he stayed there for a while. And then it's because he stayed over there, they made a list in his home. They made a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, just his relatives to come. So he saw some of his relatives, and at that time he was already shaved head, and he was wearing dhoti and kurta, and they thought that he is abnormal. And who is abnormal? We are abnormal, or the materialistic people are abnormal? The materialistic people. So we should have big fight with them, eh? Isn't it? So because they say we are abnormal, we say they are abnormal. So Prabhupada says, who is crazy? Who is crazy? Punas charvita charvana nam. You take what? You take the sugar cane even. You take the sugar cane, you try to chew, and for a while it is sweet, isn't it, friends? And after that you chew the straw, then nothing will come. This is what all about the material world. And it is the chapala sukha, flickering happiness. That's what the materialistic people all about. And that's why to err is human. They make many mistakes. They get kicked from Maya. They get big kick from Maya, but still they don't land because they don't have that higher realization. They don't have that higher realization. Therefore, showing compassion, many devotees, they asked me to write some article in BTG. So I wrote, you can Google search, you can find me in BTG. The laws of never-ending karma. There is an article written by Narad Das. The laws of never-ending karma. So the materialistic people, why I mentioned this, the materialistic people, they do not have realization or they do not have understanding that we are struggling within this material world. We are making endeavor for advancement, for happiness, but that happiness comes for a little while, and then after that, punascharvita charmananam. Again, we are in distress. So therefore, what is the right path that we have to take? So that right path is being taken by you guys, because you must have done some previous pious activities. You have your security. that you came and shaved head and joined Puran Dhoti Kurta, Tilak, Kanthi Mala, and you have that good karma just like His Holiness Loknath Maharaj as Bhakta Raghunath. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he was happily surprised to find himself so welcome. So when he returned back, everybody smiled. I was reading a little bit in this morning. So everybody smiled here. They said, here Bhakta Raghunath has come back again. And everybody were happy. Actually, just I went to see my parents like that also. When I went to America, so I wrote a letter to my father saying that I'm in America. My father was very fired up. A young boy has gone to America, he will make definitely progress. And the next moment I wrote that I joined the Hare Krishna movement. I joined. Generally, I'm very serious and I try to speak in the classes very strong. But I don't make laugh and joke. But just you guys since have come, so I'm feeling little happy just to enthuse you. So I wrote next moment. I just I joined the Hare Krishna movement. So next moment, my father told to my elder brother to write a letter. That rascal has gone all the way to America to join Hare Krishna movement. He told, तुम्हारा अमेरिका मुझे जरूरत नहीं. You come back to home, you join me, and you stay with me, do whatever you want to do, and you practice your Krishna consciousness, but stay with me. You see how much bonding, how much attachment. How much attachment. So you all are very lucky that your parents are letting you come back and chant Hare Krishna and go back to home and so forth. So then what happened to Loknath Maharaj? Let's see. In fact, when I talked to him just now, Loknath Swami is very smiling in nature, and he was talking to me just now. I went to my parents and just I returned back, and it was Krishna's mercy. And I was doing my BSc and just I joined in the movement and so forth. And he was talking to me. So when Giriraj Swami, he complained to me that your Guru Maharaj didn't write this, didn't write that, just about Mumbai and so forth. So there are other handful devotees, those who knew me. At that time I was very new devotee. And I was already initiated, and they complained me because I was part of the Lilamrita. So they knew, so they complained. So one of them is His Holiness Radha Govinda Maharaj. Anybody knows? Radha Govinda Maharaj, he complained to me. Why your Guru Maharaj has mentioned Prabhupada as Sakyaves? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now anybody has answer to that? My Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Satsrup Das Goswami, who is the writer of Prabhupada Lilamrita, he has written Prabhupada as Sakyaves. Anybody has answer to that? Anybody can answer? Yeah. Maharaj, please.
I didn't follow what you're saying. What you're asking?
Prabhupada has addressed, Giriraj Satsrup Maharaj has addressed Prabhupada as Sakyaves in Prabhupada Lilamrita.
Right.
And Radha Govinda Swami was getting on my case. Actually, all Prabhupada's biography staff, wherever we are going around the world, all the temple doors were open, wide open. They were welcoming us like anything, you know. Oh, Prabhupada Lilamita, you want to write, you want to do something, some interview here, you want to do this, you want to do that. They were welcoming, giving us best of everything and so forth. But at the same time, just, you know, to err is human. So something comes up. So Radha Govinda Swami was asking just why your spiritual master has written Prabhupada as Satyaves. And राधा गोविंद स्वामी का हिंदी आप जानते हो वो ठीक है नारद जी वो ठीक है नारद जी पृथ्वी महाराज इज सत्यावेश परशुराम इज सत्यावेश प्रभुपाद किस लिए आपके गुरु महाराज लिखे हैं यू नो हिज हिंदी इज रियली सो व्हाई इज दैट
When you are asking
yeah
why Prabhupada,
why Satguru Maharaj has addressed
Shaktavesh avatar.
Satyavesh avatar to Prabhupada.
Because in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says, Krishna Shakti Bina Nai Tara Pravartan.
Pravartan. Without mercy of the Lord, a blade of
Empowered.
grass doesn't move.
So Prabhupada completely empowered.
Very nice point.
You know.
Prabhupada was empowered by his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. Even though he was a grihastha, his sannyas disciples were terrified to go to directly side along to walk with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. But Prabhupada being a grihastha, having his son M.M. Dey, in Radhakund, there is a picture you can see in Lilamrita. He's walking right next to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami is giving him instruction. He saw something in him special. And he told, if you find money, print books in English and go to the Western world and preach in English-speaking countries. He saw something in him. So, however, my answer to Radha Govinda Maharaj was, the same word you have used, same word was used by Srila Prabhupada's senior, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami's senior disciple, Sridhar Maharaj. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj mentioned that he must be empowered, means Srila Prabhupada must be empowered that he went to East Western world and he attracted so many youths from Western world. Empowered. So then I told Radha Govinda Maharaj, folding my hand, Maharaj, if you want to know the answer, here is the answer. But still, if you have question, you can go to Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Very fired up devotee. Just he gives so nice lectures. And he's a big scholar. His Shastra is within him, you know, like a legend of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Just he was walking with Shastra. So he addressed to Srila Prabhupada as empowered person. So I told humbly to Radha Govinda Maharaj that if you want to know, you please go to Sridhar Maharaj. And why he mentioned, therefore, Satguru Maharaj has quoted him as empowered. So Radha Govinda Maharaj was specified. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. ISKCON was the first institution I ever joined. He reflected years later. And Srila Prabhupada was the first and last spiritual master I accepted. And having joined ISKCON, the thought of leaving has never occurred in my mind. That's what Loknath Maharaj is saying. ISKCON was the first and last institution that I joined. Before that, I never desired to join any other movement, and it appealed to him. If you read his letter, just over here before this passage, there is a nice letter he has written, and it is wonderful, and he has quoted many things about ISKCON, and ISKCON was actually, you know all, Srila Prabhupada struggled for one solid year. He went 65. He struggled for 1 year, confirmed. And in 1966, he has established the ISKCON movement. And it was 1971, 6 years, 5, 6 years. Still devotees were very young. I'm sure those who are 6 years devotees, they still feel young and still feel neophyte. Isn't it? Yes or no? So, His Holiness Loknath Maharaj, he joined this movement. He always felt at home, and he never returned back, never felt going back to his home again. So I request all of you, please try to serve this movement as much as it is possible, as much time you can spare. Because as we know, Labamatre sadhu sangha sarvasiddhi hoy. If we have a fraction of a second, we try to associate with a pure devotee, our life will be sublime. So likewise, if we try to spend time within this movement, chanting Hare Krishna and rendering some devotional service, it will be very rare. It will be very rare. And your rest, other activities you do outside, as Srila Prabhupada says, is a waste of time. Please, I'm not against that you should. I went to school, college, university, so therefore you guys should go, but must not forget Krishna. Must not forget Krishna. Keep always Krishna within your heart. What is that sloka in Bhagavad Gita? Maschita madgata prana bodhayanti paraspara kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Very nice boys, eh? Know this sloka, eh? Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. We should always keep Krishna within our heart. We should discuss about Krishna amongst each other instead of Gramya Katha. And we should always associate each other, and we should always seek for first class association. We should always try to associate with nice devotees so that our life will be sublimed. Because human birth is very rare. Please, do not waste your time. Do not waste your time. At the same time, I would encourage you all, once you have started some mission just within your outside world, you finish that. You finish that. Do not leave incomplete. Same thing I was told also. When I was making my passport, I was invited to go to America. I met an IAS officer in Ahmedabad, and he also mentioned to me same thing. You, whatever you studied, just you complete that. I took it that into heart. And within this movement, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, I also studied because I was very ambitious. I was very, I was, of course, at that time very neophyte, but I was ambitious that I should have a big PhD. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So His Holiness Loknath Maharaj, he personally told me he finished his BSc, and after that he didn't pursue. Now what next? To provide flowers for the deities Srila Prabhupada wanted us to cultivate a garden. He wrote to me, you can have a garden. He wrote to Giriraj Maharaj, you can have a garden, decorate the whole land with the flowers, and if possible some fruits also. Prabhupada was seeing the dream, you see, how to make nice this Hare Krishna land, how to make wonderful, and which fructified now, isn't it? In fact, Srila Prabhupada wanted to see this Hare Krishna before his departure from this world. He wanted to see this temple is being inaugurated. He left his body 14th November 1977, exactly after 2 months. 14th January 1978, this temple, on the Makara Sankranti day, this temple was inaugurated and I was present here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And I was younger devotee, yet I was not initiated. That very same year I got initiation in 1978 and in Mayapur. And I was given charge by Jaswamati Nandan Prabhu for taking care of the prasadam, cooking and seeing all the affairs. About 15,000-20,000 people were here in the inauguration day. What is that? Raj Babbar was here. Those who read the Leelamrita, Raj Babbar was here. He was the Union Health Minister. And then Prabhudas Patwari, he was the governor of Maharashtra. He was also present. There are many VIPs who are here. This temple was inaugurated in 1977, 14th January. So I will stop here. There is one devotee's name I just wanted to mention to you guys, that Giriraj Maharaj has mentioned. His name is Narad Prabhu. He's an American devotee, and his brother became sannyasi. He took sannyas from Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He was staying in the Punjabi Bagh temple, and now he left his body, and his name was Makhan Chor. And after that he took sannyas. His name became different. Bhakti Madhurya Govind Maharaj. And his own brother was Narad Prabhu. Narad Prabhu. Narad Prabhu is still alive and he's in Los Angeles area. And he's the one, he became garden in charge, and he was a very passionate person. He was fighting and so forth. And he planted a Kadamba tree. When you go that side, you walk, there is a Kadamba tree still there. You remember? That Kadamba tree is planted by Narad Prabhu. Still, he did the beautiful devotional service. His devotional service fruit is still there. And when the season comes for Kadamba flower, Radha Ras Biharji gets. Can you imagine how much benefit he will get? Even though he is in Maya's world in Los Angeles. He's a very nice devotee, but he's very passionate. You don't know, just, Rajastama Bhavera Sobhaya Achanam. When Prabhupada landed in Boston Harbor, I'm a Leelamrita man, so therefore I remember all these things. So when he landed, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned when he put his right leg in the front, he did not know where to put his left leg. Imagine. And when I heard that, I was crying. When I came to America, senior devotees were telling me that I was crying. So, Prabhupada has taken pain. The compassion is such a thing. The compassion is such a thing. If we do not have compassion, then it is meaningless for us to become devotee. It is meaningless. We have to. Our life is meant to show the compassion. Our life is meant to show the compassion. When we see a pure devotee sees anywhere plants, herbs, shrubs, animals, creepers, anything the pure devotee sees, he sees nothing else but spirit soul. He sees only spirit soul. How the spirit soul looks? Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. That little glowworm, at night you see, he sees like that little glowworm. That spirit soul, that Atma is glowing. That's what the spirit soul sees. He doesn't see the body, beautiful man, beautiful women, beautiful animal, beautiful tree. He sees only the spirit soul. That's what he's about. He could see because of his pure vision. And you know what he does? He says, "Oh my dear Lord, these poor living entities are suffering within this material world. Please give me ability so that I can rescue their lives to bring them to your lotus feet, so that they could be entitled to go home, back to your own abode, home back to Godhead." So therefore, friends, compassion is a big thing. Srila Prabhupada's heart was big, giant heart. He showed the compassion. Understanding so, we should show the compassion anybody and everybody we see. Smile at them and talk to them very patiently, nicely. Tell them, please come to Radharaj. We have a nice temple here, gorgeous temple. Come and just visit, have darshan, and try to entertain, and try, if possible, try to give them some prasadam, even if little tulsi. Please try to serve. Srila Prabhupada says, I was told, I have another 4 minutes. Srila Prabhupada says, the living entities, they are waiting just like a chataka bird, opening their mouth for first drop of rain. So like that, there are devotees, they are simply waiting. Sincere souls, they are waiting us to go. Give them Krishna consciousness. Give them Krishna consciousness. There's so many sincere souls. You won't believe, while I was traveling cross country in America, I ended up in Nebraska, where there is thousands of acres lands. Only you can see hardly you can see one house in 10 miles, 20 miles, like that, you see. So one devotee, he left the movement and he went back. He got married and he had children. He has children, and his father is a big landlord. So like 5,000, 10,000 acres land, they have one owner. Just like we have 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres here. So 5,000 acres, 10,000. So his father gave 100-acre land to this devotee. You cultivate and you do whatever you like, just, everybody's independent. So devotee, so this devotee, what he did, he made a little mud hut and he stayed with his family. And he made another mud hut and he put Gaur-Nitai's deities. And then he drove all the way, he invited many people, American white people, and they all came, he cooked nice prasadam, he chanted Hare Krishna, and then and he offered to Gaur-Nitai, and to Srila Prabhupada, he offered the food stop, and he served prasadam, and everybody liked it. And in due course of time, they started chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is what called compassion. This is how we have to show the compassion. And then our life will be sublimed, and the poor conditioned souls, to those you meet, their life will be also sublimed. Thank you very much. And thank you for your patience. And we'll see just when we talk about Srimad Bhagavatam. This is also as good as Srimad Bhagavatam, but we'll talk about, I think your 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is continuing. We'll see sometimes. Any questions?
Yes, Prabhuji, I have a question. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
When I was in corporate,
When you were in?
I was working in an office.
Yeah.
That time my colleague was a CA, and he had a question like, I accept Prabhupada as a devotee, but not you have written somewhere as a Sakyaves. He had questioned me.
To you?
Yeah, in 2002, 2004, so I was a new devotee that time. I could not answer it. Thank you.
Okay,
And
you got the answer, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we accept Srila Prabhupada as Sakyaves because he's being addressed by his senior god brother who is also a pure devotee. So does His Holiness Ameyapillai Swami also confirmed that empowerment is given by the spiritual master. Anything comes from the mouth of the spiritual master is absolute for us. That is the summum and bonum of our lives, to please the spiritual master, to carry on spiritual master's order. So therefore, in Western world, these devotees, despite trials and tribulations, many fell down, many this, many that, many things happened. But you know what? They will get lot of benefits. They push this movement forward. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, I know very well that they are not qualified to be sannyasi, but I gave sannyas for emergency. To push this movement forward. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada is empowered. He made Acharyamam Abhijanyam. Acharya teaches by example. Even though Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami says that those who do not chant 64 rounds, they are not considered even human beings. So imagine, according to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami's standard, we are not even human beings. Can you imagine? But Acharyamam Abhijanyam, just to know when devotees, Prabhupada told in the beginning you chant 64 rounds. Then devotees started chanting. Then it took 8, 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours. Devotees came back and they said, Prabhupada, we are chanting the whole day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So we don't have time to do anything else. Then Srila Prabhupada says, okay, all right, you chant 32 rounds. Still the devotees came back. They said, Prabhupada, still we don't have much time to just do the devotional service, to execute. Then again they came back and complained to Srila Prabhupada. Then Srila Prabhupada said, all right, no less than 16 rounds. You chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regularity principles, and try to render devotional service, and that's it, no more complaint. So, he being the Acharya, he has established that you and me cannot do it. But he did it. He did it. And because he's God's representative. You know what? When he was asked in America, Swamiji, you are telling about detachment. Why are you riding in Rolls-Royce car? Why are you riding in Rolls-Royce car? You know what Prabhupada says? Anybody knows? Nice boy, eh? Prabhupada says, this is just a tin box. This Rolls-Royce car, Prabhupada said, this is just a tin box. You are very proud of Rolls-Royce. I'm riding Rolls-Royce because you guys are American, rich. For me, this is just a tin box. Even if gold and diamond car is given to the God's representative, still it is insufficient. Still it is insufficient. Can you imagine? Then another press reporter asked, why are you flying then? Why you flew by aeroplane to come to our country? You know what Prabhupada made a crack? He said, if I wouldn't fly by aeroplane, your aeroplane wouldn't be here. So Prabhupada is so genius, undefeated personality, just like his Guru Maharaj. And he defeated so many doctors, engineers, lawyers, scientists, executives, businessmen, and so forth. Smashed them. Many of them surrendered to him. In fact, one time he chastised to the scientists, you guys are giving to the whole world, you are giving only empty check that you'll one day go to moon. You are spending billions of dollars, taking our money as a tax, and you are doing that, but you are giving empty check. And you guys have promised, what you have promised? One day we create the life. Can you create one little mosquito? Prabhupada said. Can you create one little mosquito? You have no ability to do that. What to speak of creating a human being? So thank you very much. And Hare Krishna. I see Indian devotees are very humble. But if you happen to come to see America, just know they're so aggressive looking, you know. So aggressive. So therefore, you have to speak, you have to preach over there. If you want to come to America, don't come to ring the bell or don't come to do the kuruch. Come to preach. Pran ache jar sei kare prachar. My life is finished in the Western world. Hare Krishna. Here it is, the books, the temple commander.